In my previous videos, we've covered the process of starting an organization. Today, we're going to look at growing the organization's influence in an efficient way. That means activist training, long-term strategy, and this guy's ideas. Well, that's Nestor Makhno, a very central participant in the attempted anarchist revolution in parts of Ukraine between 1917 and 1921. As you might be able to tell, the revolution failed, and Makhno ended up in exile. In exile, he was part of an anarchist group that produced the anarchist journal Dielo Truda, which I pronounced wrong. Based on their experiences from Ukraine, they produced the document Organizational Platform of the General Union of Anarchists. Draft. The document basically says, hey, anarchists are not that well organized. Let us do something about that, develop a platform and attempt to make anarchist ideas influential in the working class. Now, this was written in 1926, and anarchism, unlike some other revolutionary ideas, allows you to pick and choose the good stuff, but that document can serve to an extent as an inspiration for us revolutionaries when we are creating revolutionary organization. Now, I'm going to dig into the parts that I like, and then we'll see what this means for us. The main message in the platform is that anarchists should organize in tightly organized organizations with a clearly defined platform. This means that, yeah, we're getting a bit sectarian. To cooperate well, you need to agree mostly on what your political goals are and how to get there. Thus, it follows that members should somehow be evaluated before they are accepted into the organizations. How? We'll get to it. Another message is that the organization should consist of the most dedicated anarchists. The organization is not an organization consisting of supporters that show up at meetings occasionally. No, becoming a member is a dedication. Of course, the organization should be structured in a free, federative way. The last principle is collective responsibility. If someone fucks up, it's the organization's responsibility, not only the one that fucks up. So, we're creating an organization of dedicated revolutionary militants that are going to work their asses off in making anarchist ideas the leading ideas in the class struggle. Let's talk praxis. Training members. In my earlier videos, I've talked about that the organization must have a democratic process of getting new members. However, that's just the beginning. Once you get the resources to do so, you must do more to make sure new members are awesome and not a burden. Before a member is accepted, they should be put through this training system. This way, everyone has been exposed to anarchist theory and get some practical skills that they need. Let's talk content. Ideological training. Now, everyone must understand what capitalism is and why it sucks. Some people may only have a generalized anger towards their life situation and saw you guys do something cool and then applied. They might very well be good members, but before they get an understanding of capitalism, they won't be able to make initiatives. You need an analysis to do that. So, you need to do something to make sure everyone understands capitalism and the state. Both the study circles over some Malatesta or binge-watching ContraPoints will work well. Of course, a crash course on feminism, anti-racism, anti-fascism, and internationalism are all good ideas. You don't want sexists, racists, or transphobe. Do everything you can to scare them away. Practical training. This, in my opinion, is often neglected by many people, and that is a fucking crisis. We've talked about this many times on my channel. People need practical experience to be able to participate in an equal way as the rest of the organization. Provide this as step 1 and you'll give them a good kickstart. Some things are important that they get experience with very quickly. Your members must be able to moderate meetings. They also need to be able to take meeting notes. Give them a crash course and incorporate direct democratic meetings into the training process somehow. Now, I'm also sure that you'll use computers or smartphone apps to do large amounts of internal coordination, votes, etc. Do not take it for granted that your members will figure this out themselves. They must be taught so. Not everyone gets technology, okay? This is especially true if you go for outdated internal forums that nobody has heard of before. This was actually a huge problem in an organization that I've been part of. Nobody understood how that system worked, nobody checked it, and well, internal discussion, well, didn't work. Platform. If we're going to be able to have a good strategy and a course, we of course, bling, need a platform. Agreeing with the platform should be a necessary premise to join the organization. No shit, you say, but I say, how specific should that platform be? Well, to find out, think about this. How much can you disagree with someone and still be able to construct a new society with them? The answer is actually a whole fucking lot. But you cannot disagree on central, fundamental questions. We need a platform that does not make our organization attractive to people that ideologically or tactically have contradicting beliefs to our own. So, thus it should include a vague idea of what our future society should look like. We don't want people in that imagine anarchy in mostly the same way as, well, those who understand it as chaos. We also need the platform to express something about our strategy so that people don't mistake us for being that kind of group you join if you want to, And of course, the platform should be super fucking feminist, of the super fucking trans-inclusive kind. Supporting of queer rights, anti-fucking racists, and etc. Let's not make our platform attract class reductionists assholes. That won't help anyone. Cooperating with other organizations. We should not isolate the revolutionary movement. Although the organization's principles that I have mentioned now may at first seem kind of sectarian, they aren't really. Of course, to be effective, the organization should agree on the important stuff, but we should also cooperate with other people. Isolating ourselves essentially makes it impossible for us to win influence. Like, who are we going to influence? Ourselves? Are we going to convince absolutely everyone to become convinced anarchists, give up whatever they are doing, and then make their revolution? No, I don't think so. Actually, it's when we've cooperated with people that disagree with us on some level, we have succeeded. For most of the history of the CNT, an extremely central organization in the Spanish Revolution in 1936, for those who don't know about it, an anarchist revolution, explicitly self-identifying as an anarchist was a minority view. It was just an organization where anarchist principles and an anarchist program had won because anarchists had been active in the organization and heavily influenced it. The organization you are building should do the same. I'm going to go through some movements and some thoughts I have on cooperating with them. That is, social democratic parties, trade unions, environmental organizations, the vegan movement, and of course other anarchists. This is also going to vary drastically between different situations. Social democratic parties. The more left-leaning social democrats, or democratic socialists, if you will, tend to have some level of sympathy for revolutionary movements. As in, they don't think you have gone absolutely nuts, as your mother might think. This means that they are a recruitment base, and therefore, tactically cooperating with them on some specific things might be a good idea. If, for instance, it is necessary to hold a counter-demonstration against some alt-right group in the area, I'd suggest inviting the coolest democratic socialists to the meeting where you come up with a plan. This way, you'll make a good impression on some convertibles. That's the word now. Good impressions on them will likely lead to you getting more members with organizational experience after some time, especially if your group often tends to take the lead. Hint, hint, take the lead. Then you become the cool group that actually does something other than handing out flyers when there's an election soon. Another thing is that many of these parties have youth organizations. These are often, especially in smaller areas, poorly organized, and they often don't take much initiative on their own. They will just join whatever project show up in their local area. They can be an effective tool to mobilize people to show up at stuff. Trade unions. We definitely have to talk more about trade unions in another video. Now, trade unions, if they become radicalized, can stop society completely and play a central role in the revolution. These guys must be on our side. Environmental organizations. We're destroying the planet's ecosystem. Also, it's basically capitalism that makes us unable to do anything about it. Like, if we get these people on our side, we're having the people that will just increasingly get more and more and more important in international politics on our side. When entire states break down because of the refugee crisis following entire nations literally going underwater, we're going to get a situation of radical destabilization. Let these people be socialists then, not eco-fucking-fascists. Ew. Veganism and other lifestyle organizations. If you watched my 3 first videos on this channel, you know that I think there's a few significant benefits we can get from partaking in some specific forms of consumer activism. That basically being veganism and minimalism and Esperanto. I didn't mention it in the videos, but it will come, okay? Now, their values overlap somewhat with ours, and they could gain a lot from being against capitalism too. Consumerism does not survive the revolution, nor will industry-funded crap health research. Let us not disregard these people as bourgeois individualists, but rather get them within our own ranks and influence them. Marxist-Leninists. If you unironically walk around thinking that Stalin did little to nothing wrong, then I'm not sure if I have another way of putting it really, like, okay, you ready? Sometimes it's simply tactical to cooperate on some anti-fascist or anti-imperialist work with these guys. Okay, I guess, but like, don't make it a flirt, okay? Right? Just don't. I'm not in anarchist activism for being killed by the soldiers of a dictator, okay? We've done it before, it didn't end well. Other revolutionaries. We should, of course, maintain good relationships with other revolutionaries. As long as they are somewhat libertarian, they're cool. Squats are often pretty isolated, and when they cooperate with other squats, it's often fairly casual and not well coordinated. We can change that. Starting new organizations. Sometimes cooperation doesn't work well. Then it might be necessary to start our own organizations. However, there are a few initiatives we should probably take anyway. We should start direct democratic workplaces and take initiatives to create cool culture, and we should build neighborhood councils as soon as possible. Wrapping up, thanks for watching. Here comes the end screen. Voila! Probably was a, okay, I'm gonna stop joking about the end screen. Yeah, nobody, it's not funny, I know. But here is the subscribe button, and you should click that. Super awkward if I put it there, right? But I didn't, because I make this the end screen myself, and I'm putting it there.